very much the difference between someone who understood Buddha and a Buddhist. Because there very much is a difference there. Like, you're still holding on. You're still defining yourself. Therefore, there is still a self that you are holding on to and attached to. Otherwise, being a Buddhist wouldn't be a thing. You wouldn't need it. It wouldn't even make any sense to you, because that would be assuming that Buddha was Buddha. And Buddha wasn't Buddha, which was Buddha's fucking point. Right? So it really just comes down to, again, there is that gap where you could be telling yourself a story and then still be responding to your triggers, but shielded by the story, right? Like, oh yeah, no, I'm gaining awareness, I'm expanding my consciousness, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you become insecure and you run from it to the future and the past again, right? And that reinforces the story, because you're probably going to run to a point in the past where you were stronger and felt more secure, and so on and so forth. But it really is just going moment to moment and not looking for that, and just continuing on, watching where those insecurities are. Like, for example, the other night we went to the pub. I ended up soaked with beer on one of my pant legs. Had to go up and sing in like 3 songs. Immediately, all the childhood fears of, oh God, people are going to think I wet myself, came up. And instead of trying to make myself feel better, I just went, well, that's funny that's still in there. Like, I've obviously not wet myself. I know this. Whether people think I did or not is kind of irrelevant. But I didn't know that as a child because I wanted to fit in. There was a totally different mentality. There was a totally different response based on how I perceived everything. I don't perceive it that way anymore. So now, all of a sudden, faced with the same habitual trigger, I was able to go, oh, that's habitual. That's interesting. That's actually not based on anything other than the assumptions I made before about my need to fit in, about my need for people to see me in a certain way, and then the value that went with that, and so on and so forth. But you can only face that stuff in the moment. Like, you can't be sitting at home reading a book hoping that this is going to bring you to a moment of consciousness or enlightenment or anything like that. You can't be banking on a certain diet or a certain type of exercise or anything. You can't bank on a conversation, nothing. Dualistic unity, you can't bank on that. You can't do any of that. But what you can do is just pay attention moment to moment to moment and recognize that most of your fear responses come from the illusion of yourself. They come down to that idea of yourself, and that's okay. I think that's it. Like, there's nothing wrong with the thoughts that are going through your head.